Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots. This is a podcast for Fort Worthians who love our city and want stories from our community's creators. You love Fort Worth? You want to know what's happening in your backyard? Then this podcast was made for you. This show can be found on all of the podcast players. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we're available there. Also available on YouTube and all the social media links. Just look for Fort Worth Roots. Starting last week, we decided we were going to start highlighting some veteran-owned businesses that are inside the Fort Worth DFW area. And the first company that got back to me was Squad STX Boys Camping. Squad STX is an overnight primitive camping, hiking, orienteering, and laser tag course for boys designed by the U.S. Army infantry officers as an alternative to Boy Scouts and traditional summer camp. We develop strong leadership skills through squad competitions, time-tested military training methodologies, and situational training exercises. This place is located down next to Dinosaur Valley State Park over there by Glenrose, Texas. This is designed for boys ages 11 through 16. It's 100% outdoors, overnight camping, hiking, wilderness skills, land navigation, laser tag missions. It looks like a lot of fun. I know any kid that age would just love this. You can find their information at www.squadstx.com. And Squad STX, thanks for doing this with us. And then one other announcement, I'm going to be talking about this right up until the event, which is April 30th. River Oaks is putting on the River Oaks Springfest Car Show. And this information will be in the show notes, but it's going to be on Saturday, April 30th. It's going to be trucks, muscle cars, antiques. There's going to be vendors and a pop-up market, games and events. This entire event is going to be benefiting the Friends of the River Oaks Animal Shelter, which is cool. You know you're a dog person, right? Or a cat person. It says animals, not just dogs. And the YMCA Camp Carter, which apparently is like a 300-acre park right in the middle of a metropolitan area. This is free to the spectators. There's going to be, I think, last count, Darren said there was going to be upwards of 70 different vendors there, and he compared this to like Mayfest. But we've got plenty of time to plan for this, and I think it's going to be a huge event. Fort Worth Roots is going to be there. It's going to be the first time I've taken the show to an event. It's free, it's on a Saturday, and you got 2 months from today to get ready for this thing. Over 2 months. So put that on your schedule. Make a trip out there. See what kind of weird stuff I bring to the show. And I might even bring the grill out, because last time we did an event like this, nobody cared about anything else I was doing except for the hot dogs. So I might get with Darren on this, bring the grill out, and maybe make some hot dogs for people. Whatever. Anyway, we'll just be there talking about the show. Might even do some remote episodes. Might do some recordings that day. Just real quick, I wanted to shout out a few names of people that have been messaging me. Some of them through Facebook Messenger. Some of them are just commenting on posts. Some of them are actually sharing the episodes. And then I've even got some people emailing me saying, thank you for the episode, or I enjoyed the episode. Keep up the good work. Little stuff like that just means a lot to me. Angela Walker, Darren Howe, Mickey Wendell, Carrie Smith, Mark Nobles, Brock Dwald, Matthew Stephen Jones, Joe Savage, James Norrid, Trista Morris, Lucas Peterson, Matthew Broyles, the folks over at Hightower Band, Paul Smith, Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations, Lily Lorraine, Renee Gomez, Sarah Nesbitt, Don Martinez Gutierrez, Kate Grayhouse, and Mona DP, and Chris Jokish. Sorry if I mispronounced that last name. Anyway, I really do appreciate it. That gives me a lot of motivation to keep the show going. As you know, if you've been listening to this, I say it all the time. I'll keep this show going no matter what, because it's something that I enjoy doing. But getting little bits of feedback and encouragement and things like that goes a long ways. So thank you to anybody that's been sharing the podcast, or liking some of the stuff, or leaving comments and sending me emails. Thank you. Thank you very much. Those are just a few of the names that I read off while I was going through my Facebook notifications and my emails. If I did not include your name here, I'm so sorry. But thank you for your support. Every time y'all send me a message, it just makes my day. So a lot of people contact Fort Worth Roots and start the conversation about being on the show, guesting, and doing one of these little recordings with us. And then sometimes I reach out to them and try to get them on the show. And a lot of people are like, nah, I don't understand podcasts. I don't want to do it. Or I've never heard of you, so I'm out. And that's completely understandable. But every once in a while, I'll get a hold of somebody and they are nice enough to honor us with a quick interview. Lately, I've been wanting to get Fort Worth roots involved in the rodeo scene. It's part of our city. It's very culturally tied to how we live here. Our guest today is the Chief Operating Officer at Cowtown Coliseum, and we will be posting all this information in the show notes, but you can go to cowtowncoliseum.com and see the events that are happening down there. They do stuff every weekend. When you go to cowtowncoliseum.com, you'll get a full list of all the events that they've got going on out there. And I'm looking at their schedule right now. It's jam-packed. A big thank you to Cowtown Coliseum, and please give it up for our guest today, Chief Operating Officer out at Cowtown Coliseum, Mr. Clayton Cullen. Thank y'all for being here. Let's start the show. How long have you been the Chief Operating Officer here at Cowtown Coliseum?
A year and a half.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So not brand new to it, but...
No, but fairly new.
Yeah. Now, before you, did you step into somebody's role that had been here for a very long time?
Yeah, the ownership of the lease with the city changed hands in July of 2020. I came on in August of 2020.
Okay, so that's all new management?
So everything is brand new.
Okay. The announcer that... handles the rodeo whenever y'all are having it here. Is that the same gentleman that does Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo?
No.
Okay.
No, that's different. Billy Huckabee is our weekly announcer, and he has been doing this rodeo for about the last 25 years.
Okay. Yeah, so you've got some veterans here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of long-tenured people here.
Now, I know that myself and some friends have been down here and seen the rodeo, but what goes on here on a weekly basis? Y'all do a rodeo every night?
We do a rodeo every Friday and Saturday night of every week, unless there's a special event booked, which we have some of those that where we don't have rodeo, but most of the time we're doing our regular Stockyards Championship rodeo every Friday and Saturday night.
Now, what goes into that? Is that part of a organization? I'm kind of ignorant to the rodeo.
No, that's quite all right. Yeah, no, it's not. We are our own sanctioning body. We have our own association. It's Stockyard Championship Rodeo, and so we do our own rodeos. It's not part of a larger organization. Occasionally, we do PRCA sanctioned rodeos. When a special event comes up or something like that, we'll do a PRCA sanction. But by and large, the most of our rodeos are just simply independent rodeos.
Okay. So for somebody trying to progress their career in a certain event, would coming out here and winning that championship help them advance in any way?
Well, it'll give them experience, rodeo experience. It doesn't count for points for any other association, but it certainly gives them experience.
Right. Now, you said you just started about a year and a half ago. Are you originally from the Fort Worth area?
I am not. I'm originally from California.
Okay.
I came here to take this job. Prior to that, I was the senior vice president of production for Professional Bull Riders for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So I toured the world over with PBR, producing all of their shows.
Sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Now, when you say all over the world, what other countries did y'all take bull riding to?
Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Australia. And I spent 2 weeks in China trying to set up a tour that never happened, but I did go to China and work for 2 weeks over there setting stuff up. So
that sounds like a hell of a story.
Yeah, it just never came together, but it was fun to get to go to China.
So you guys were trying to kind of branch into a new demographic, a new market in China?
Yeah. Start a tour over there. We had a partner over there, turned out to be a bit unscrupulous, and so the deal kind of fell apart. So.
Okay.
It never happened.
Were y'all having issues with the local government trying to get in there?
No, the local government seemed quite receptive to us coming in and bringing Western-style bull riding to China. We actually shipped, we were so close, we shipped 100 bucking bulls from Australia there. We shipped an entire preferred arena over there, which, to my knowledge, I guess they're still there. I don't know.
Wow.
The bulls might be hamburgers by now. Who knows?
I would think, right? I mean, because if they're not being used for their intended purpose, then you've got 100 head of cattle running around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like hamburger.
Yeah, expensive hamburger, but
yeah,
because we actually flew them over on a jet from Australia.
Jesus,
so built huge shipping crates, put the bulls in there, and airmailed them to China.
That is wild.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that with cattle.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can.
Does that happen pretty frequently, or only when you set things up in China?
Well, with horses and different kinds of livestock, like show horses or race horses, or rodeo livestock, things like that.
There's a whole subculture with the rodeo, and I think that show that myself and my fiance really enjoy watching, Yellowstone, has kind of brought a little bit of new blood into the rodeo.
It's focused a lot of attention to rodeo and to the Western lifestyle. Absolutely has.
That in 1883, I think is the name of the show.
1883, which was filmed right down the street here. A big portion of the opening episode was shot right down the street here from the Coliseum.
Yeah, and they kind of superimposed somebody else's courthouse in the background, but that's Exchange, right?
Yep.
And that's where you guys are located.
We're on East Exchange. They filmed that on West Exchange, right across Main Street.
Right. And then one of the buildings down there, maybe more, but I know one for sure is trying to get the city to allow them to keep that stage set.
Yeah, I don't know what the status of that is. I think they were trying to do that, but I think they pretty much took everything back to the way it was before they started.
Yeah, just couldn't get it to comply with code.
Yeah, I don't know what the particulars were, but everything looks like it did before.
Yeah. So have you seen kind of an increase in traffic with ticket sales since then?
Absolutely. The year and a half that I have been here, of course, when I started, we were right in the middle of COVID and all of the COVID restrictions and the limitations on capacity and things like that. But since that time, we've just been steadily increasing, and the stockyards in general down here have just been exploding with the opening of Mule Alley, the opening of the Drover Hotel, the Hotel Drover, excuse me, all of these things. There's just an increased amount of traffic here. Saturday night, just past Saturday night, we sold out the rodeo completely, couldn't sell another ticket. The stockyards was crammed full of people. Everybody's out having a great time. Stockyards is a happening place now.
It is, yeah. And we end up talking about the stockyards a lot, this being kind of a Fort Worth Central podcast. But there has been so much increase in international vacationers, I guess, tourists that come in here. And so you'll be walking down, what is that? You got Risky's right here, and at the end you got the record store. What is that tunnel there?
Stockyard Station.
Stockyard Station. If you walk through there, you can kind of catch people talking in different languages from all over the world.
It's interesting because at our rodeo Friday and Saturday, they were here both nights, we had a film crew from France here. And they are filming a documentary on Fort Worth and the things to do in Fort Worth, and they were following our stock contractor C.K. Reed and his wife Ashley around. They were following them and filming all that. So they filmed here at the rodeo for 2 nights, and they could barely speak English. They were directly from France. They were filming a French documentary on Fort Worth Rodeo.
We had a gentleman on the show not too long ago. He goes by Frenchie, and he was selected, I guess, by the mayor to represent Fort Worth whenever our sister city, Nimes, France, came into town with their delegates, because they didn't speak any English either. And I don't know why. That's probably just my own ignorance, but it's just wild to think of somebody coming here not knowing any English, how hard it must be to get around.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, but yeah, our sister city for some reason is Nimes, France.
How about that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So now, with you being new to the area, now when you took the position, was this your first time to Texas?
Oh, no. It's funny because I actually worked in this building for like 6 years.
Oh, okay. I
have produced the American Rodeo since its inception 8 years ago. And so the semifinals are always held here at the Coliseum. And I would always stand out in the middle of the arena and look around and kind of marvel at the building, because the building has so much character. It's a 114-year-old building. And it was just, it needed some attention. And I would look around and I go, man, if I was here, I would do this and I would do that and I would change that up there and I'd clean this up and I'd do something else. So when I interviewed for the job with Craig Cavalier with Stockyards Heritage Development, I began to share with him that. He said, "You mean you actually had a hit list of things you would do?" I said, "I did," never dreaming that I might actually have a chance to fulfill some of those.
Right.
So it was rather interesting that I'd been very familiar with the building and had different ideas in mind, things that I wanted to do, but never in a million years dreamed that that I would be living here in Fort Worth and actually have the ability to make some of those changes. So it's been quite a fun ride. It was built in 88 days at a cost of $250,000. You can't even get a permit nowadays in 88 days.
Yeah,
much less build it start to finish.
And this entire arena was built in 88 days for $255,000.
Yep.
It seems like pennies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But it was 114 years ago.
Yeah, but even then it kind of sounds cheap.
Yeah.
It's an incredible area. I really wanted to find a way to get Fort Worth Roots involved with the rodeo scene because it's something that we've always enjoyed. We go to the stock show and rodeo every single year. It's a family tradition. And so we just really enjoy it. Our family is removed from that culture because we're not raised with cattle or around horses or anything like that. But we'd love to come out and find a way to talk to your young athletes out there and
that'd be great.
Any of them that would like to sit in front of the microphone and kind of tell us a little bit about their trade and what goes into it. Because, I mean, I'm about as novice as you can get. I'm a spectator, and I enjoy it, but I don't know anything about it.
It was very interesting. Just this past 2 Saturdays, we did a matinee rodeo, and it was kind of focused on the future of rodeo because we have some young people, and when I say young, I'm talking 9, 10, and 11 years old, that are very much a part of our weekly rodeo. And then we also extended an invitation for all the actual participants, rodeo contestants, 12 years of age and under. We paid their entry fee to get them to come here. So our Saturday matinee rodeos for the last 2 weeks have been very kid-focused, focused on the future of rodeo, and it was phenomenal. It was just so cool seeing all of the young kids. We had youth bull riding, so we had 6 very young bull riders that came out. I had an 11-year-old, Sophia, that does our pre-show and after-show here. She's a phenomenal singer, and she came out and did interviews with all the bull riders after they got off of their rides. Did a phenomenal job. It was just hilarious. Everybody just thought it was so cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was
so
fun.
the future of rodeo is looking good with this new generation.
Yeah, absolutely. The future of rodeo is in very good hands, I believe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of sub communities that you look into that are kind of drying up and has nothing to do with rodeo, but like CB radio, ham radio operators, things like that. There used to be a network of operators across the United States, and they held permits and they could communicate. And I think the state or the federal government actually funded to keep these very large antennas up to date or at least maintained. At any rate, they would be able to use that as a secondary communication system. God forbid something happen and we can't use our cell phones or landlines or anything like that. We still have a backup. Well, over the years, that community has just kind of fallen apart. You know, they've aged out. Nobody picked up the trade behind them because it's a skill set. And so now the government that has been paying for those stations to stay powered and maintained are starting to shut them down one by one. So we've lost something. And I always worry about that. Private pilot community, that's another one, where there's just not as many individual aircraft owners. And so that's another community. It's just kind of drifting away. So whenever you brought up the future of rodeo, I'm glad to hear that it's not fading out like the rest of these.
No, there's a lot of interest in rodeo, and I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, and glad that the Coliseum's here because y'all do put on a great show.
Thank you.
I have not been probably in about 2 years, so maybe
it's time you be here.
Now, I noticed you have a pretty, it looks like a very specific type of belt buckle there. Were you a rider at some point?
No, the belt buckle that I have is my 10-year anniversary buckle with PBR.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's funny you mentioned that then because I get a lot of questions. Oh, did you used to ride? And I go, no, I got this belt buckle for being ridden, not for riding.
Yeah.
10 years with PBR touring and doing all of their production, and so they gave me a buckle at my 10-year anniversary.
That was nice of them.
Yeah, it was. Very nice.
So no bull riding for you?
No. I like to tell people I'm much smarter than that.
Yeah, I've had 2 broken bones in my life, and one of them was from getting kicked off a horse. So, 50% of my fractures.
I've seen a lot of injuries in my tenure with PBR, and
I'm sure you've seen some awful ones.
I have.
Yes, unfortunately, I've been to some some rodeos where they had to take people out on stretchers. And
Yep, happens all the time.
What happens?
It's funny, with PBR, we used to have a saying, you watch NFL and you see a guy get a concussion, oh my God, he's out for 6 weeks. And with PBR, we used to say, oh, he's only got a concussion, thank God.
Right, yeah.
Literally,
sure.
a concussion was a minor thing, and with PBR, because they get such horrific injuries, and they want to get right back on the next show.
Right.
Because if they're not riding, they're not making any money. So.
Right. Yeah. So. And they've spent a lot of time training and making sure that they're ready for this event, and it happens so fast.
Yes, it does.
1 second you're on top of the world and feeling great, and it just takes getting kicked by one
next
hoof.
second you're looking at the underside of the bull.
Yeah, pretty rough.
Yeah.
Do y'all have staff here that manage the livestock and take care of the event down in the arena?
We have a contractor that brings all of our livestock for us on a regular basis, CK Reed with Double R Rodeo.
Okay.
So he manages all of the livestock for us, brings everything from the bucking horses, the bulls, the calves, the steers, everything.
Completely outsourced. So y'all don't have to worry about that.
No, we don't keep any stock here during the week or anything. They all live out on CK's ranch, and then he's under contract with the rodeo to bring them every week.
Okay. And do y'all have anything to do with the daily cattle drive out front?
No, we don't, other than just enjoying it.
Yeah.
But we don't manage that or anything. That's managed by Visit Fort Worth and the herd. The stockyards is the place to be now. It's just growing continually.
Yeah. That was something I wanted to ask you about. You've seen some of the changes over the last year and a half. And you're no stranger to the area. You said you spent 6 years working here before that. Do you think that all this growth is going to change the culture down here, or do you think we're insulated from that?
I think that there's been a very focused initiative to keep the stockyards the way it is, improve it, but yet retain that culture, retain that heritage. Even the name of the company that's doing the development here, Stockyards Heritage, that was very meaningful in the selection of that name, because they very much want to preserve the heritage that is here in the stockyards, and I think they have done a phenomenal job and accomplished that goal very much. So they've worked very hard at maintaining that, and I think they're doing a really good job. So no, I don't think with all the improvements, those are great, but I don't think they're going to take away from the heritage or the general feel of the stockyards down here.
I'm glad to hear you say that, and I have to agree with you. Like the Mule Alley, they worked on that for a couple of years, but even with all the up-to-date renovations down there, to include the drover, it all matches. It kind of fits the stockyard. They didn't rob the essence or the feel of it. It still feels like the stockyards.
I just did a video because we're celebrating the 132nd anniversary of the stockyards this month, the month of January. 132 years ago is when this area actually came into existence. And so I created a little video that we show in the rodeo. We're showing it the whole month of January. In the middle of the rodeo, we show this little video. And in this video, there are some very, very archaic pictures of Mule Alley and Exchange Avenue and all of that. And I looked at this one picture of Mule Alley, and I was commenting to someone as it came up on the screen. I said, look at that. You can absolutely recognize right where that is, because it still looks like that today, even though there are modern shops and restaurants and office complexes and things like that in Mule Alley, occupying those mule and horse barns. But yet the look of it, you can look down Mule Alley and absolutely recognize that picture. And I can't even tell you what the date of that picture was, but it was decades ago.
Now, was this whole area known as Hell's Half Anchor, or was that?
No, that's a little farther up. This was always known as the stockyards.
Okay.
This is where all of the cattle were bought and sold, and then they went to processing at the Armor and Swift plants at the end of Exchange.
And that track right there that goes through that shops area.
That track, yeah,
that's still active.
It is. Oh yeah. Grapevine Railroad, the Grapevine Vintage Railroad comes down there on the weekends.
Where do you get tickets for that?
Well, you can get tickets to go that direction here, or you can go to Grapevine and get on it there, and it'll bring you down here and then take you back to Grapevine.
Is there a kiosk or office?
Down here, there's a little office down there in Stockyard Station where you can get tickets, or like I said, you can go to Grapevine.
Yeah, as many times as I've been down here, I've never seen that train.
My family and I have taken that train ride several times. It's a hoot. I'm telling you, it is just so much fun.
Yeah. Do you know their schedule?
I don't.
Is it a Monday through Friday thing?
No, it's mostly the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be why I've missed it.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's a lot of fun.
I appreciate you sitting down and doing this with me.
Sure.
We're happy to promote anything now that you've been on the show. If you have an event coming up and you want us to share that with our audience on our social media accounts, we're happy to do it. And if there's a big event coming up and you want to do another one of these interviews so we can plug it and talk to our audience about it, we're happy to help.
Good. Glad to.
Well, Clayton, thank you again.
You bet. Thank you.
And we'll wrap this up in Fort Worth Roots.
All right.
We will see you next week. Thank you all for listening. Bye. A sincere thank you to our friends out at Cowtown Coliseum for giving us the time to do the recording. Mr. Clayton, Cullen, thank you for having us out. Hope to do more with these guys. It's a facility with a lot of history, and there is... I don't know why that amazes me so much. I don't know why I like these old historical buildings, but I do. And there's a ton of events out there that you guys can go see. Just look up cowtowncoliseum.com, and I could rattle off these dates, but I mean, it's almost every day they got something going on out there. So check that out. I'll include a link in the show notes. Really easy to remember, though. cowtowncoliseum.com. Another big thank you to our friends out at Squad STX. Where is that? Okay, www.squadstx.com. Boys camping. It's an all boys, age 11 through 16, 100% outdoor, overnight camping, hiking, wilderness skills, land navigation, and laser tag missions. Sounds awesome. They got a boys summer camp. That's a 5 days, 4 nights thing. They got a father and son camp. 3 days, 2 night thing, and you can register for it online at www.squadstx.com. Thank y'all for being here. Don't forget, we got the River Oaks Car Show coming up April 30th. Put it on your calendar. Fort Worth Roots is going to be there, and we're excited. Finally going to take the show out and actually meet some real people. So, not that you're not real people. I just hadn't seen you in person. Hope you're having a good day. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Monday. Peace.